turn back to the academic side. Would your department be willing to find ways to include more workforce readiness skills if it meant less depth in technical areas?
Absolutely. And I can say that it's something that we have been doing for quite a while. Based on input at least a decade ago, a survey of employers said exactly the same thing. That was the time in which we started requiring writing and communications courses in our major. We have a social issues and computing course that students are required to take. But I just had a long conversation with someone by email in Charlotte, North Carolina. He's high up in Bank of America. And we were talking exactly about this, these workforce readiness skills, and going back and forth as industry and academia do. I can tell you that the most important thing for us is the critical problem-solving skills. It's something we've always worked on. There was a time in which industry tried to coerce us into teaching the hot skills of the day. Why haven't they had 5 years of programming in this particular environment, this particular language, and so on? Happily, my conversations with industry today are we need more of the critical problem-solving skills, and we're very happy to work on the workforce readiness skills. But I think what Joe was talking about earlier, it really takes a community. This is not something that the university can do by themselves. These skills need to begin to be trained in K through 12. We will continue to work on that, and we solicit input from industry all the time, figure out how to strengthen it without weakening the critical problem-solving skills, which you pointed out are very related to the second item. And also, I would like to urge industry to think about their responsibility, which Joe talked about a little bit also, in taking and helping to train the new employees. Yeah, they'll probably leave you after a certain number of years, but then you're going to hire someone that another company has trained in these skills. So it's really a patchwork quilt of effort and communities. And I just want to put one last plug in for our new general education program at the University of Rhode Island. This is going to be very helpful to us and to you because it's an integrative general education program. The students are required to have courses in which they work on real projects. All of the courses are integrative. It's not standalone, a little bit of math, a little bit of science, a little bit of arts, and so on. So I think this is not only going to be helpful for the students, give them more exciting courses, grand challenge courses, for example, are required. It is also going to help to prepare them with these critical thinking skills and workforce readiness skills that I think that, maybe sometimes the computer scientists are not the best to do exactly all of that. Our colleagues in the other disciplines can help us with that.
As you pass that over to Tony, I'm just curious because I was wondering, as I was looking at the list of recommendations, the last recommendation was the Industry Advisory Committee. No commitment here, but just by a show of hands, who'd be interested in serving on something like that? There'd be a lot of people interested in tackling something like that. Twice a year, it's not so tough. Tony.
Okay, when I read this, it says including more workforce readiness skills if it meant less depth in technical areas. I don't think there actually needs to be a trade-off there. I come out of an engineering background, and one of the goals of problem solving is to solve the problem. And if solving the problem requires you to be able to communicate, then communicating becomes part of that technical skill. If you need to give a presentation, presentations become part of that technical skill. So what we did is when we look at our program, I look at this bullet list, and other than some of the business models, we do a lot of it already at Roger Williams. We start programming in terms of projects freshman year. They give presentations freshman year. Now obviously there's a difference between a freshman level presentation where you're really happy that they can get PowerPoint that's not black letters on a brown background. And And then you move up to senior level presentations where they're actually trying to sell their project to a client. So we do incorporate that throughout our 4 years. We have our senior design process is a 2-semester effort where we bring in a client from the outside, and it's up to the student team to develop their requirements, develop their timeline, determine what constitutes a successful project, and then they turn that over to the client at the end of the year, or at the end of our academic year. So in that process, they learn communication skills, they deal with a client who's changing requirements. So again, it's not a trade-off, it's more in terms of linking them together. Now, one thing that is a problem for us in academia is when industry comes up to us and says, we absolutely positively must have graduates who know Ruby, which is a programming language. I've been teaching for 25 years. I can give you 30 languages that are an absolute disservice to our students by not teaching them. So when industry tells me you must know Ruby, I interpret that as we have to teach object-oriented programming paradigms. So what we also would like industry to do is recognize that our students come in and they may not know a specific language, but they can solve the problem and have the ability to learn that language far quicker than if you look for somebody who is so specialized that every time their job changes, they are learning something completely brand new from ground zero. So I think, again, it's not a trade-off of technical and readiness skills. It's being able to mirror them and match them together in a better way that we understand what the requirements of industry are, and industry kind of understands the capabilities of the university to provide those needs.